Welcome to Desteni Movie Hangout, and we are here discussing the movie called Dark City, and it's an interesting movie about. I just described the plot fast. It's like a movie about a man finding himself in a situation when he does not have memories, and starting to find out answers, and then finding some dark secrets about the city and the people in the city. And it's sort of a noir, old-style movie, sort of artistic points appearing in the movie. And as we discussed before, it focuses on humans and their own relationship with memories. And this is a live session, and we have panelists who are Pieter from Netherlands.
Hi.
And also Valentin from Slovenia.
Hi.
And this is a live session, so anyone can just join and participate and ask questions within the Q&A session. And guys, for instance, Pieter, what would you like to start talking about this movie? What was first impression for you?
Okay, well, I was curious about this movie when I saw that you were organizing a hangout about it. So probably I wouldn't have even noticed the movie or known about it if you didn't mention that you were organizing this hangout about it. So I started watching it in a pretty neutral way, and very quickly I was fascinated by the movie because I saw that it was touching quite a few points that are reaching deep into how humans are living, are made actually, and especially the points related to memories, how we deal with memories, and how memories are fascinating eventually for other beings that are not human, if you can talk about these kind of things, if they might be real or not, that is not important. So watch from it from the outside. So what the movie suggests is actually that in order to survive, we have those beings that abducted apparently quite a large group of humans from Earth, brought them somewhere in in a galaxy, and made a kind of well, don't call it a planet, but a kind of satellite where they were living on, and they were observing those people, these people, and they were playing around with memories. The main reason to do that was to find out how to deal, how to learn from people what they could do with memories, and well, guarantee their survival because they were dying. So that is very fascinating, because for some reason the memories we have are made special in this movie. So it is as if there is a suggestion that says, okay, stick to your memories, because that is absolutely important to get through life. Well, we can discuss this point and see why this is not the case, but we have to deal with it. Maybe Valentin, you can hook in here and say something about that.
Yeah, it was interesting for me that in the whole movie it was not explained, or I did not notice why these beings were actually dying and what were they hoping to find out. Just that they are looking for a human soul, and that if they would find it, they would be saved. This is very interesting.
Yeah, because they were talking about the soul, and at the end of the movie, the guy, I forgot his name, said, "Well, you were looking in the wrong place." You were looking in the head, but he suggested that it was somewhere else that they had to look.
Yes,
But
John Murdoch.
Yeah, Murdoch, yeah, that's right. It's a very common name, so I forgot it. So that's an interesting point too. So it is not in our head, but it is somewhere else. It is in our body. So memories are in our body, and that is actually what we should be aware of. That memories are part of our physical body. So we have to do something about it. And that is maybe the hidden message of this movie, that even maybe the people writing the scripts of this movie were not aware of. But if you look at it from a perspective of people walking the dip process, so definitely we can recognize things, especially on how to deal with memories and how to debunk memories and how to work with them, and how to see memories for what they actually are, and also understand the importance of memories, that we cannot get easily rid of them by just ignoring them. We cannot push them away because they are physically there and we have to do something about them. A very simple example is just think about food. When you taste something as a kid for the first time and you don't like the taste, it is very probable that for the rest of your life you will not like that specific type of food, just because you're not really tasting it for what it is, but you're tasting your memory. Your memory is actually telling you how something should taste, and it is almost impossible for us humans to switch off that thing that is a memory to really taste the thing for what it really is.
Yes, it's like a conclusion we came, and then we stick to it. It's like this is who we are, and this is who I am, and this is who I must be. And then we remain, even not questioning that maybe circumstances change, and we change, and everything changes, but our relationship to memories is not questioned or even decomposed. So it's interesting in regarding to this movie, because as he's finding out that it's a sort of spoiler alert, but anyway, it's like they claim that he's a sort of serial killer, and then he also becomes interested in finding out that he makes and places himself into a situation when it would be triggered. Like, you remember that when he goes to the plot when with that girl, and then finding out that he's not actually the killer they claim to be.
Yeah. What I actually see is, I will give you some room, Valentin, in a second. Before I forget it, what I see is that Murdoch actually started to be critical, and that the fact he was critical was actually the reason why he was able to get off the grid. And that is actually a message that is shown to us as being a hero because it was able to get off the grid, where in real life you should actually question yourself if that is very wise to do, because if we want to find a solution for something, or actually we are not able to see how to come out of a specific complex situation, what we tend to do is to move away from it. If I look at myself, a very short example is that some years ago, my ideal was to start living off the grid somewhere in the middle of the mountains and being completely self-sufficient, because I was so convinced about this world being so sick and it was not possible to correct people anymore. So the only solution for me was to get away from it. And what I learned, especially walking also my process within the DIP process, the Desteni process, is that is not the way to go. It's really to face this, and you start to face this, especially starting with yourself, because you represent what actually everybody is. So you're not different from other people. You cannot distanciate yourself from that. You are part of equal part of anybody else, and you have to face yourself. And if you're able to solve the problem for yourself, you will also be able to help others to approach the problem and to look for a solution.
Exactly. I agree. Also, when the moment the time stops and then people just start to fall asleep, and then he tries to go to the people actually and then shouting to them that wake up people, hey, what's happening? I want to know, wake up, hey. And then nothing moves. And then he realizes that it is a serious point. And yes, getting off the grid, so to speak, interesting point. Valentin, can you add something about this?
Yeah, I wanted to add about the conclusion that these beings were to look the soul elsewhere but in the head. So I understood this like that they were to search it in the heart, because this is typical explanation where our soul is to be in the center of solar plexus, and that they were missing this point. Just for this perspective.
Interesting, yes. It's like not defining the thoughts to be our origin or, so to speak, meaning, but the feelings. But if we start to investigate, they are not that different. And it's really supporting to just walk through these memories and question everything. And then people shouldn't have to face some traumas or this getting off the grid experiences, because there is no other way. Like also in the movie, I realized that after all he remains there and then just try to show that we can change this. I really like that one.
A question to you, Talamon. We discussed before we started the Hangout that you eventually can bring up some dialogues that we had in the movie and see if we can lift something out of that. Maybe you have one specific chunk of dialogue you can bring up.
Oh yes, for instance, when the main investigator, the policeman, meets with another policeman who already got really crazy, so to speak. And their discussion was quite of fascinating for me when he's explaining that she's not my wife. I don't know who she is, and what makes you say that? And then the more I try to think back, the more it all starts to unravel. None of it seems to be real. It's like I've just been dreaming this life. And when I finally wake up, I'll be somebody else, somebody totally different. And then talking about the case, and then the policeman says that there never was a case. It's all just a joke. And also we can feel like this because I always had these experiences of nothing is real, nothing is important. We are just floating around and then drifting. But actually we have responsibility as being here, causing consequences. So what can you tell about this, for instance? Valentin?
So that we are living in a kind of dream. Yeah, this is a perspective that is prominent in the spiritual world, in the New Age movement, where it is explained like that this world, the physical world, is like illusion, like this Maya, and that we are dreaming, and that when we die, then we actually wake up and regain our awareness and return to the like heaven and so on. And this is partially true because we are here suppressed by the mind consciousness system that induces like a dream state. We are not fully aware what this reality is. what is consists of, but it is not an illusion. It is more that the mind is illusion and the physical reality is the true reality. So instead of wanting to meditate and escape into the mind and doing drugs and so on, it is best to experience this physicality and find a practical solution how we can live here in this physical reality and not just waiting for some miracle to happen or that we will die and then only the solutions will be presented.
Interesting. And Peter, can you add something to this?
Yeah, actually two things, because one is the thing about reality, and I remember that a couple of years ago, yeah, it's quite some time. Let's say when I started to read the first Destiny materials, I was reading specific points about what is the physical reality and what is the reality we see in our mind. And I was very puzzled about that because, okay, what is real? Is this what I'm seeing here and touching, is that real? Is that not real? And it took quite a while before I started to assess with that idea that, okay, anything that is stone, wood, whatever it is that is real. But there are also things that I might so strongly believe in my mind that I can visualize things, eventually seeing them as memories that eventually are not true at all, but I believe in it.
Yeah, so to speak, actively projecting out in the experiences.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that is something you see in day-to-day life, that people eventually have an idea and they are so strongly believing in this idea that they are bending the truth. And also the truth is a very complex thing because it depends on how we are seeing the things from our point of view, and that might be different compared to another point of view. So it is a very tough thing to define what is a reality.
And facts, yes.
And the only solution to that, from my point of view, is to first come to a point of self-honesty where we can define for ourselves in all possible dimensions. We can grab and manage is to find out, okay, this is in self-honesty what I think is reality, and then start from that point of view with other people that hopefully also they can do that from a point of self-honesty. So self-honesty there is a very important thing. There's another point that pops up here is critical thinking. What I miss with actually most of the people living around myself is the ability to be critical about what they see, what they hear, what they experience every day. So another practical example is the fact that in the Netherlands the banks are having a raise every year in September. So every year in September they just communicate, well, the prices for banking have been raised by whatever, 9.75% for my bank in this case. I was actually not amused by that. Why? We don't have actually any kind of inflation now with the situation that we have now, with the still being in a kind of regression. And why should there be a raise, such a strong raise, just because it is September and we are just pushing it through, and most people probably will just see it, okay, that happens every year, okay, who cares? And if you look at your salary, it stays the same.
Yes, not questioning that why is happening. And
it's not people are not questioning anything, and maybe because they might be afraid of questioning things, because if you start questioning things, you have
exactly.
to also be fair and honest to yourself, and dive into things within yourself you might be afraid of discovering. So discovering yourself can be pretty tricky. And also there I can definitely tell that using the tools that are given to you following the Dip Lite and the Dip Pro courses, you definitely are helped step by step to start scratching at the surface and then go deeper and deeper and deeper in a very safe way, because people will help you go through those process and get over your fears in a very nice way. So
Yes, and they also probably the body will be like already walked the path and then realized that aspects of themselves. Therefore, they know what you are facing, and then they can support. Definitely, I suggest to check out, because the dark city is around us, so to speak, and then we should and we can actually find out what is happening. And nothing is really mystical, because all what we mystify is just maybe because we do not dare to question, as you mentioned. Yes. Interesting.
yeah, definitely. Anything from you, Valentin?
Yeah, I just recently made a blog in Slovenian language about these perceptions of the realities. So the initial step is that when we see with our physical eyes this reality, this physical reality, we just see one dimension of existence, just a picture of reality. And then the problem is that our mind then also projects the experiences from the past, some beliefs, judgments onto this picture reality. So the first step is firstly to stop this projection in order to not to emotionally react to what we are seeing. And then the next step is to release the mind even further. And then also we can see other dimensions of reality, because everything is interconnected, everything is interdependent. And this is the final stage, the ultimate stage, where we can see some part of reality and immediately understand how it functions, what it needs to have in order to exist, and thus we can then decide how to make this world a better place for all.
Yes, definitely. Also, for being able to stop some habits, for instance, I can agree that we have to understand first, because it is so integrated within our lives that we do not even question. Like, for instance, back into movie when they ask the questions that the Shell Beach, that how can we get to the Shell Beach?
Yeah.
And then it's interesting when, oh yes, it's just like that, and then slipped from my mind. Yeah. And also, when I really like the discussion when Murdoch is explaining to the policeman that when have you actually seen the sun last time? And then I don't think the sun even exists here, and it's
I
so
actually
deep.
was shocked by it because I didn't notice until that point in the movie that it was always dark in the movie.
Yes.
Not actually, I was aware of it, but not really aware of it. So when Murdoch mentioned that, oh yeah, he's right. I didn't see any. Oh wait, and what is about the time there? Are those just 12-hour cycles? So every 12 hours they just stop the time in order to make the changes, or are those 24-hour cycles? I don't know, because the movie is not telling me, but it's not important. It might have been just 12-hour cycles, and probably those people will never went to bed. Because I was also surprised that at midnight everybody was up and in the cafes and eating and drinking and whatever it is, which is a strange time.
Yeah, it's like a program is always resetting and then they just adjusting and then re-implanting. Interesting. And no one realizes because they are always implanted with the new impressions.
Yeah, if you are okay with that, to the point of controlling time. I don't know if you want to enter this point, because it's pretty interesting. Time. What is time actually? Because we see very often that time is our enemy, since it is a continuous thing we cannot control. Is that
Yeah, it's
true?
like
Is that not
we
true?
always running against time, feels like, and it's just existing in the mind. Yes, you can expand on. It's really cool.
Yeah, because from my point of view, I experience time always of being it against me, because I saw time. Okay, I want to do 1,000 things. I have to make a choice between the things I want to do. The result is that I don't have time to do those things. I have to do other things like working for making money in order to survive, and that is not leaving me enough time to do things I like to do. So I'm frustrated, etc. This is all things related to time. And slowly I learned that there is also a big part of self-honesty. There's self-honesty again. Self-honesty that is very important in how you deal with time management, because only with self-honesty you can tell if in a specific moment you have to make a specific choice, and this choice should also be free of specific emotion and feelings. Because if you start to have this emotion like frustration because you would rather have done something else, then there is something wrong also with your self-honesty. And that is a pretty complex thing. I'm not out of that myself, but I started to become aware of it, and that is already a very nice step into the right direction. I don't know if one of you can expand also on your experience related to time.
Yeah, I can pick this up. Uh, I observed myself when I made a commitment to do a daily vlog. So, video diary, I decided to every morning record a short self-interview, and I managed to do this for about more than 100 days now without being interrupted. But then lately, I noticed that I was not doing blogs so regularly, and when I wanted to get time to do the blogs, I noticed that I spend a lot of time in a day watching movies in order to relax myself, because I became anxious. And if I would just spend a half of this time to do writing, I would then release the source of this anxiety, and thus will be able to have more time in order to do other things, more useful things.
Yes, and even if maybe you write, then you can discover what is the reason of this anxiety and what is to prevent actually, and support within real changing. It is cool. I would like also to mention that it's still a live event, so anyone can ask questions in regarding to the memories, mind, relationship, regarding to the movie Dark City or Desteni I Process as well. And also there is one point from the movie what was fascinating for me was when they explained that we have not obtained our own memories. It's just like implanted, but then I still love you. And then they feel this attraction with his wife beyond this fact that he lost his memory. And then they say that this love must be real because it's beyond memories. Can you explain about this, Peter, if you want?
It
Interesting.
starts with a question: what is love?
Yes.
Some bitter people that have bad experiences with love might say it is a disease. From my point of view, love is a feeling, or eventually an emotion, depends on how you look at it. And it is not something that is perpetual, something that is lasting. I've been in love, of course, several times, and if I look back, I might ask myself, okay, what was the real love point? Was the real love for the person that I now married and living with already for many years?
Yes, what remained?
What remained? What is that? So actually, I have to redefine love, but as a word, not for myself, because I'm not afraid of it or whatever it is. I'm not afraid of being tricked by love in the future or whatever it is, because it is a kind of mindset. And also, let's say it, if I might fall in love with another woman, it is just not being self-honest, I guess. So I don't see that with the awareness I have now, that should be a real possibility. But I can imagine that for younger people, falling in love is a very important thing. It is something that is tangled into our culture. It's not important what culture you're coming from. Love is always seen as a very important thing, and it is something to dream away with, and it is actually only happening in your own mind. And that is maybe the dangerous point, because just think of yourself in high school, when looking at somebody else that you liked and eventually wanted to fall in love with. It is all things that happen into your mind, and with a bit of luck, eventually the other person is having the same kind of feelings for you, but it also might happen that they don't even see you, and
Exactly.
then the risk is that you get very unhappy because your picture, your ideal picture of that other person is not the reality, at least not the reality of that other person. But if that matches, then okay, you might fall in love and live both on a pink cloud, not be aware of anything else that happens around you. So it's a very strange thing, actually, being in love, because it's being completely lost and not in touch with reality, from my point of view.
Yeah, it's becomes too important and serious, and then disregard everything else. It was so crazy when I had this at university, and then it just didn't last, and I remain actually. So for me, interesting part, because love should be visible and touchable and should remain what can be shared. Valentin, can you add something from your own perspective?
Yeah, what I realized is that love as a feeling is an illusion. The only love that exists is practical support and sharing. And then I would also like to talk about another perspective about the movie, if I may open
Okay.
this point.
Yeah, just a second, and we'll wrap up the love thing,
Cool.
because we are talking about love as something that is something we shouldn't talk about, because it's not real, it's fake. But I guess that we have to redefine the word love, because I think that if we redefine love as being something that you can use for anybody around you, defining it as if it is that you are making it possible that we are living in prosperity, that everybody can live in prosperity, for instance, and that what we do is only not best for us ourselves, but the best for all, then that might be a redefinition of the word love, the true
Exactly.
love, real love. So that is
Yeah.
something, a challenge, eventually a challenge for people watching this hangout is to redefine the word love for themselves, but not for themselves as being a person in self-interest, but as something that benefits everybody. That might be a nice thing to do for yourself. Okay, that's just to wrap up the love thing. So go ahead, Valentin.
Yeah, so I noticed that the whole movie, Dark City, could represent imagination, because in the movie, when the time stopped, also the design of the city was restructured. And this is also what we are able to do in our minds. We can immediately imagine things, and immediately it can manifest, but only in our minds. And this is also like during the sleep, dreaming. And these beings, aliens, who were then also in some occasions there was fighting, and some being had head chopped off, and then like some kind of jelly being was revealed that was inside their heads. And I listened to the interdimensional interview about the victim of a shark attack, who also, while leaving the body, observed the mind, and it was like a jellyfish. So these aliens could represent the mind trying to understand our physical bodies as life. And it could not, the mind is very limited, and it could not understand. It just needed the body to survive, to get the energies. This is like how could also this movie be interpreted.
Yeah, cool. I see. Yeah, it's like it can relate it even to the movie Matrix. People used to relate to this one because even in that movie, I remember that they related to love is a connection, and how we define and live it. It defines who we are, and then also this relationship with these sinister governor beings as being our minds, and when we, so to speak, sleep and then allow our mind to tell us and categorize and change and redefine ourselves while we allow ourselves to be asleep. And it's interesting. And from this point, I'd like to ask also my favorite question about the movie is how we can show a way or trigger or manifest a real awakening during the people who are appear to be sleeping. Peter?
That's a very good question. So what you actually are asking is that, because that is something I missed in a movie, to be honest. Like almost any movie I'm watching that is full of all kind of suggestions that more and more can be recognized. What I miss is that they are giving a real clue to how to become Murdoch, all the people living there in that same situation, because it is focusing only on a couple of people, and even the end of the movie is not specifically giving a clue on how we can free ourselves from that situation. So actually the people in this city depend on the hero, who's Murdoch in this case, because he saved them from that very bad situation, this kind of loop they were stuck in.
Yes, he was able to tune, so to speak, but only he appeared to be.
Exactly, and I don't think that is really the good kind of message, because we need to awake ourselves, and that is something we have to apply to each one of us. Everybody on planet Earth has to to start awake themselves and starting to ask critical questions about what he sees and what he's experiencing, and find ways in order to become self-honest, and once starting to discover yourself, your true self, also starting helping others doing the same thing. That is definitely the way we should go. And yeah, well, like many other movies, that is unfortunately not the message that is given by this movie. But happily enough, we are there and we are shaking people, waking them up, and inviting them to become curious and maybe even more critical about what is happening in their heads and what they see around them, etc.
Exactly. And we should start to wrap up things. And for my personal perspective, also I like to add that maybe we can give like a example how to live, and then just not care about waking up others, but live how we would like initiate, or we would like to, yes, being the example, so to speak. Valentin, can you add more points?
Yeah, actually, I think that the movie did show a solution. If we understand it from the perspective like I described it, these aliens were representing the mind, and the solution was shown very sublime. The scientists infused the true memories to this main actor, and then when this main character remembered his true past, he became very powerful, and he was able to destroy these aliens, which, from my perspective, can represent the mind. So the solution that was, from my perspective, shown in the film is become aware of your past, remember what your past what was done in your past, so you can take responsibility for what you have done in the past, and thus you will take back your power in order to, like it was shown in the movie, to kill the mind, to get free of the mind, and then you will be able to live forever after happily.
All right, I like this.
It's a very good one, yes, definitely.
Cool. So thank you for the discussion, guys, and maybe we can add some links also to the YouTube video, what we would like to add as support. And
yeah, what we could do is to add the link to the EQAFE interview that Valentin was talking about. So
all right,
people can refer to that interview about the jelly thing coming out, the jelly mind. Let's say that way.
Yeah.
That is one thing.
Okay. So thank you very much, and bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.